If you think rush hour traffic is bad, try ancient Rome at chariot o'clock. Yes, traffic jams existed even before the car. In 45 BC, Julius Caesar literally banned daytime chariot traffic in Rome because the city was too congested. Apparently, the gods invented traffic before they invented patience. Urban mobility didn't start with cars, it started with feet. And every stage since has been a remix of one question: how do we move people faster without losing our minds? Today we'll travel through 5,000 years of movement, from walking cities to megacity madness, to understand how humanity got stuck in traffic together. This is the second video of the first module of the course Urban Transportation in Developing Countries. I'm Hushman Masumi, it's Urban History. For most of human history, we walked. Cities like Uruk, Athens, and Chang'an were compact, rarely more than 3 to 5 kilometers across, because walking speed about 5 kilometers per hour sets a natural city size. No buses, no bikes, no Uber, just sandals and blisters. Imagine a city designed entirely around your legs and your sense of direction, which for me would mean I would still be lost somewhere in Mesopotamia. These walking cities were dense and mixed use. Homes, shops, and temples packed close together. Urban historians call this the pedestrian era. Streets were social spaces, markets, and meeting places. Walking wasn't a lifestyle choice, it was the default transportation system powered by carbs, not carbon. Then came muscle upgrades: horses, donkeys, camels, and oxen. By the 1st century AD, cities like Rome had thousands of carts delivering food and materials daily. In ancient Beijing, the main avenues were wide enough for 5 horse-drawn carriages side by side. Early traffic planning. But animals also meant smells, accidents, and manure management.
Well, poor David. Of course, he knew the road in daylight.
London in 1894 predicted that horse waste would bury the city under 3 meters of manure within 50 years. That's one way to get organic growth. Animal transport made cities bigger but also dirtier, noisier, and harder to manage. Mobility gained horsepower, literally, but lost hygiene points. When human got wheels, we got ambition. The Romans built 400,000 kilometers of roads, with 80,000 kilometers paved, connecting cities from London to Jerusalem. Their motto, "All roads lead to Rome," which in modern terms sounds like an awful traffic management plan. These roads revolutionized trade, administration, and military logistics. They also defined early urban hierarchies: the capital connected to everything, the peripheries connected to nothing. Mobility became a form of power. Whoever built the road ruled the region. Fast forward to the 18th and 19th centuries, the Industrial Revolution. Cities exploded in size. Between 1800 and 1900, London grew from 1 million to 6.5 million people, Paris doubled, and Bombay tripled. Walking was no longer enough. Enter the railway, the steamship, and the tram. The first urban railway, London Underground, 1863. The first horse-drawn streetcar, New York, 1832. And the first electric tram, Berlin, 1881. Electric traction was the Wi-Fi of its day. Everyone wanted it. By 1900, more than 200 cities had electric tram systems. Public transport reshaped urban form. You could now live farther away and still get to work. Cue the birth of the suburb. And thus began humanity's longest relationship, the one between the commuter and their existential dread. Then, in 1886, Carl Benz patented the first practical car. By 1908, Henry Ford's Model T made it affordable, $825, the cost of 2 horses and fewer tantrums. By 1900, there were 8,000 cars worldwide. By 1930, over 30 million. By 2024, more than 1.4 billion. That's roughly 1 car for every 5 humans, or 1 car for every argument about parking. The automobile redefined cities. Streets stopped being for people and became for machines. Cities like Los Angeles sprawled across hundreds of kilometers, creating the car-dependent city model. In contrast, pre-car cities like Amsterdam or Kyoto had to retrofit themselves around this new beast, often with disastrous results for pedestrians. In the mid-20th century, the car wasn't just a vehicle, it was a status symbol and a political ideology. Owning one meant freedom, success, and air conditioning. Governments invested in roads like there was no tomorrow, which in climate terms turned out to be kind of accurate. The US built the interstate highway system in the 1950s, which was 48,000 miles equal to 77,000 kilometers. Many developing countries followed, often with World Bank loans, believing highways equals progress. But highways cut through neighborhoods, displaced millions, and encouraged urban sprawl. In cities like Mexico City or Lagos, that meant endless congestion. Ironically, we built more roads to avoid traffic and got more traffic to avoid roads. While rich countries went car crazy, developing nations went bus crazy. From the 1950s onward, cheap buses became the backbone of mobility. Cities like Sao Paulo, Manila, and Nairobi grew bus networks faster than rail. By 1970, buses carried 80 to 90% of daily commuters in many African and Asian cities. But these systems were mostly informal, private operators, old vehicles, and chaotic stops. Yet they worked. They were flexible, self-organized, and surprisingly efficient under pressure. Think of it as jazz transportation, messy but somehow keeping rhythm. As megacities like Delhi with 33 million or Jakarta with 35 million ballooned, the formal transit systems couldn't keep up. So informal mobility filled the gap. Minibuses, shared taxis, and moto taxis. In Lagos, Danfo buses moved around 12 million trips daily. In Manila, jeepneys carried 40% of all daily trips. In Nairobi, matatus make over 60% of commutes. There are no side stories. There are urban mobility systems for billions. No timetable, no schedule, no subsidy, but always a ride. If Uber were a religion, paratransit would be its ancient prophecy. Let's jump to today's urban reality. In 1950, there were two megacities. Megacity means a city of more than 10 million people. These two cities were Tokyo and New York. In 2025, there are 43 megacities, most in developing regions. Dhaka in Bangladesh, 23 million people, with average speed of 7 kilometers per hour. Cairo, with 22 million, commuters lose 52 hours per month in traffic. Jakarta, 35 million in the metro area, 3 hours per day average commute. Urban mobility has gone from walking to waiting. Waiting in traffic, waiting for buses, waiting for infrastructure that never arrives. And it's not just lost time. The World Bank estimates congestion costs developing countries 2 to 5% of GDP annually. That's billions spent on the global hobby of honking. To fight the chaos, many cities began investing again in mass transit. Delhi Metro opened in 2002, now 390 kilometers, 3 million daily riders. Cairo Metro with 78 kilometers, first in Africa. Lagos BRT since 2008 carries 300,000 riders daily. Jakarta Mass Rapid Transit 2019, first subway in Indonesia, expanding rapidly. Rail and BRTs became symbols of replanning, a slow pivot from chaos to coordination. Still, for every shiny new metro line, 10 new car dealerships open nearby. Urban growth outpaces infrastructure almost everywhere. Building a metro in a megacity is like adding one straw to a very thirsty camel. Then came the 2010s, apps, GPS, and new vocabulary, Uber, Bolt, Grab, InDrive. Suddenly, mobility became digital. Even informal drivers went online, coordinating rides through WhatsApp or apps like Careem in Cairo and Safe Boda in Kampala. Urban transport entered the platform era, convenient and also data-driven and precarious. Drivers work longer hours, cities lose fare control, and congestion continues. Yet these platforms introduce trip data, finally helping planners to understand actual travel patterns in developing countries. The cloud became the new traffic light. By the 2020s, the conversation shifted. Not just how fast we move, but how cleanly. Transport accounts for 25% of global CO2 emissions, 90% of which came from road vehicles. Cities began experimenting. Electric buses in Bogota, Santiago, and Kigali. E-bikes and scooters in Addis Ababa and Nairobi. Low-emission zones in Accra and Bangkok. The Global South is leapfrogging, skipping straight from diesel chaos to electric innovation. But let's be honest, even an e-bus stuck in traffic is still a bus stuck in traffic. The future is electric, but not necessarily faster. After centuries of chasing speed, cities are rediscovering proximity. Concepts like 15-minute city, transit-oriented development, and complete streets are now trending. Even megacities are trying to feel small again. In Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, 80% of daily trips are still by walking. In Mumbai, the new coastal road includes pedestrian promenades. In Bogota, on Sundays, 120 kilometers of streets are closed to cars for bikes and walkers. We've come full circle, from walking cities to walking again, but this time by choice, not by necessity. Apparently, evolution has a sense of humor. After 5,000 years of invention, we are back to using our legs. If we zoom out, a pattern appears, which can be summarized like this table. Each shift expanded the city, but also made it more complex. Mobility is not just a technical story, it's social, cultural, and political. And the moral? Even transport solution eventually becomes the next generation's problem. In 2100, someone will probably complain that their flying taxi doesn't sync with the teleport app, but it is probable that I won't be alive to see that. From the first pedestrian alleys of Uruk to the expressway of Nairobi, the story of urban mobility is a story of trade-offs. Each innovation solves one issue: distance, speed, convenience, but creates another problem: pollution, inequality, and dependence. Yet amid the chaos, one truth holds: mobility equals opportunity. The ability to move determines your access to work, education, and dignity. So when we talk about fixing urban transport in developing countries, we are not just talking about buses or roads. We are talking about justice on wheels, and hopefully fewer honking contests. Thanks for walking, riding, and occasionally honking through history with me. In the next episode of this module, I will talk about the concept of compact city and why the compact city model works in the West but not always elsewhere. Until then, remember, the distance between civilization and chaos is about one badly timed traffic light.